Good afternoon. I'm Enzo Troncone, 32 years old. I'm CEO and co-founder of Butterfly. Here we have Laura Mariano and Francesco Gargano, co-founders with me. And we are going to present this project that becomes from our personal experience between universities and our professional career. We start this project with this sentence: there are ideas that are in depth of our consciousness as unconscious bugs, unconscious that can become viable projects, wonderful, perfect, as beautiful butterfly. Why? Because all of us starts our professional careers from our thesis. And in particular, I'm coming from a really big family. We are 8 sons. And all of us have studies in universities. And all of us start our careers by our thesis. We optimize this time. That's why we built this idea to have an organization that helps students and researchers to protect the unused potential of thesis and research and develop in a business projects. This is the business idea of Butterfly, and do this with a structured method. Andato. Ok, siete voi? Okay. Okay. We are 3 co-founders and 3 consultants that take care about particular questions in this project. 2 of our processes are connected by the legal aspect in this idea and patent. So I will talk about Stefano, that is my brother. He's an inventor, researcher. He developed for his thesis a wheelchair with elevator on the back side. I have here some of you that are from universities. So let me say, this idea today is a product, but the day when he presents this in front of his department, they say that can be not work. But he say, no, it can be work. So he come back at home, he start to build a prototype. He was lucky because in front of us was an investor. And he say, what are you doing there? I cannot sleep in the night. So I say, my brothers explain his idea. And the investor say, tomorrow come in my company and you start to work with me. You can go, please. That's why we analyze our experience. Thanks also with a PhD course that I follow in my university of management of innovation. And we develop this method. You can push the button, please. Or I cannot be fast. Okay. Doesn't care. We have 2 approaches how we work. First approach is the most common. Going to university, look, thanks to our industrial experience, to good ideas, and push in our processes to develop them. But another approach that we are going to structure it is collaborate with small companies and identify areas to suggest to students to develop thesis. This is what we call top-down approach. This is our work development path. We have 3 phases in which we structured our methods. That we have a first phase that we call bug, in which we scout the idea with the 2 approach. We develop a business model and we test if the ideas can become a patent. That for us is a sensible point. Then we have a phase where we start to structure the business plan and we talk with the professor about the publication. And then we have a 3rd phase in which we take care of communication and we look for most structured investor or foundation, even like Mind the Bridge, that can really support the development of the project. Okay, now, I explain our processes, but when we start to test our method, we immediately understand that was inside the university a problem of education and a problem of work method. That's why all these processes now, we are putting inside a web-based technology that will help students and professors to develop project with that work method. Thanks with two algorithms that I identify in my PhD research. The first one tests the consistency of the hypothesis, and the second one correct the financial estimation during the business plan, during the work activity. So let the business plan be an active document. This is still in development, while the first one we have developed and tested, and we are going to put online. This is in details. Please go fast. We can do it even with few data because we use expert evaluation. The algorithm uses expert evaluation. Is expert system tools. I will not go in detail then if you want. This is the second algorithm that will support the business plan development. That, as I said, is we are still working on. Okay, this is our development status of our technology. We have a prototype of the first. I divided the development of my technology because it's quite complex in module: bug, chrysalis, and butterfly. But even the first one produced a selling report. Okay, just to say, we start our experience, our startup. We have a startup since December 2013, and we start to follow a startup of one of our past colleagues of university that is common in Italy. And we successfully support them. We obtain some good results with them. We find some investors, and we help them to develop the business plan, the business model. So how we identify and how we go in, how we keep in touch with the students and also young professionals with events, workshop, good communication, and also with a good network strategy. This is our cost and revenues structure at the moment. And I finish with this slide. So if you have any question, we are here to answer to you.
Okay. All right, people are starting getting tired. We still have one more. So thanks for the presentation. Just two suggestions on, again, I think for the group of people in general. There are at least two kinds of decks of presentation. One is stuff that you send to people. The other one that is very different is the one that you use in the background. So typically when you do presentation like this, people want to see a big picture, one big title. You need to cover all the complexity behind, otherwise you're kind of missing, the connection with the counterpart. That's what is happening here. I like the problem that you're trying to solve. I think is a very relevant one. There's a lot of potential there. There's a lot of potential intellectual property that is being lost.
Yes, exactly.
This is a core, by the way, of successful universities like Stanford and whatnot, is that their ability to filter and and grow the intellectual property that can be originated by their most talented students there. So I like the premises. I didn't get much about the product, so I was confused. There was too much there, okay. And when there's too much, then eventually kind of missing there. So without going back to the whole process,
I will let you try.
No, but my real question. So you had the chance. That's again when you try to say too much, the result is that potentially then the result is very different. But what my real question is, how do you expect to scale? So how do you expect to move from the few universities that you can go typically and talk to a few students or do host events? How can this thing become big and automatic?
Okay, we have a network. We have been in Brazil. We have people. We are keeping in touch with people in US and Spain. We are preparing a workshop, but not with students, with a focal point that will be reference person inside university, and be a reference person for professor. Usually, our focal points are young researchers or professional people that are keep in touch with university and knows our processes. So these people can be support professors and students to use our tool. This is
So
our
how do you
idea.
hire these people? Where do you find them? How do you? Because how many universities are there in the world? Just tell me a number. How many universities?
I can suppose about 2,000.
Exactly. So that's one number you should have off the top of your head, because this is market size. So one thing is when you're working with your 4, 5, 6, 12 universities around your region. The other thing, I want to scale this. Mm-hmm. So the first thing is okay, this is the total amount of university market. How can I scale tomorrow, making through a process where people get automatically either signaled or through the network. That's the kind of information that you should put there. So forget all the technicalities. It's not relevant at this stage, but it's more show me the business.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So from my perspective, you are doing many things, and this it's difficult for me to understand exactly what of those things you do best, and also whether you are aware that you are going against many platforms at different stages that address small pieces of that. Just to give some examples, right? I mean, not all inventors go to ask for feedback to their professors. Some people just go on Kickstarter. Just to give an example. Yes. And not everybody comes to me to find an investor, although I may occasionally do that. There are angel lists or the startup bootcamp that proactively look for that. There are softwares around that companies have made billions that do a tiny piece of the workflow management that you are building. Basically, it's a very ambitious project, and that maybe you're setting yourself too high of ambitions, but what's for sure, my feedback is I have had no element to judge that you do any of those things better than everything out there. Because there's just, as we said, there are hundreds of accelerators that I guess some of them are better than others, but I think the problem of finding an investor is going to evaporate very soon. So I got no clue of what of those things.
I can answer you. To come to you, people should have a structured project, more or less. To success, start a collaboration with you. We start to talk with guys when they still have ideas on a paper, on a small paper. There is just a draft. And we help them to understand that this can become a project. We see in our experience a lot of good theses inside our universities there have potential. No one's take care because maybe they didn't understand that this idea can have a potential. But then the idea needs team, support, business model. The first phase of our software is maybe that one that can be the most valuable part of our project, what I call bug.
So that just that's a good example. If that distinct insight, if that also your motivation is really ensuring that no great idea in the world gets into the drawer because just a university professor was too narrow, then just think of what's the product that really will make a difference for that at a global scale that is not driven by your personal contacts, but maybe as a platform participation, being the qualified crowd, not everybody, but just a qualified crowd of scientists who can take it to the next mile. but really to the next mile, not thinking, okay, I'm going to be the best in 3 years, I'm going to become the best, taking from that to IPO, because you are going against so many things. The trend now is thinking global, but narrowing your scope, particularly at the early stage.